Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to Anarchy. This is Wrestling. Brett Wolverton here with a former 3-time Anarchy Tag Team Champion, 2-time Young Lions Champion, the one and only Andrew Pendelton III. And Andrew, what an amazing way to kick off the action this week.
You're telling me. I'm talking about Mike Posey versus Kyle Matthews, two future superstars, two world-renowned superstars. Kyle just got back from a major tour. Posey's doing gigantic things in this business. It's just exciting to see two wrestlers of this caliber wrestling here on Anarchy Wrestling.
It is great to have them here this week. This is another one of those that I say when they give us the format sheets for the night, to see this on the rundown, you can't wait to see what happens inside the square.
Exactly, because a match like this, you're not just an announcer, you're not just a member of the Anarchy staff, you're a fan. You're a fan for 15 to 20 minutes to watch this contest. Hope, maybe longer, knowing these guys, they could go all night. You never know.
Yeah, this could be the only contest we featured this week on Anarchy. Side headlock takeover by Kyle Matthews into the head scissor by Mike Posey. Mike Posey, again, even as he was coming out to the ring, knowing full well that he had an important match with Kyle Matthews, he noticed Anarchy owner Franklin Dove out here observing, and his focus is on that. He cannot wait to get Franklin Dove inside the squared circle.
Yes, the question is he going to get a chance after spending some time in the ring with Mr. Kyle Matthews?
Well, the Anarchy crowd here in Cornelia, Georgia are submission fans. They love seeing wrestlers tap out, and I wouldn't be surprised to hear a tap-tap chant start soon.
Well, obviously we know Kyle Matthews, trained by the late, great Ted Allen, the Nightmare Ted Allen, one of the greatest wrestlers in the history of the business. Really took Kyle under his wing and taught him a lot. Just made him a really great superstar, and just gave him the skill set that a lot of the new age wrestlers don't have nowadays. They're not training that way anymore. So if you talk about one of the most well-rounded wrestlers, not only on the independent circuit but in professional wrestling, Kyle Matthews' name comes up.
Well, you see the tattoo with a mask on the left shoulder of Kyle Matthews, that symbol of his mentor, the Nightmare Ted Allen. It's always there as a reminder of what got him to this point. That split-legged leg drop misses. I can't imagine that move, even if you hit it, is comfortable.
Yeah, I don't know if I'd be choosing to do that move. And again, maybe a little too much flash. So the question is, look at this maneuver. What is he doing?
Inverted Boston Crab.
I have never seen an invert. Look at this. And he has literally got him in the air.
Almost a pendulum, and he's going to drive that
head. He's hitting his head on the bottom turnbuckle.
This is where we said, this is the kind of match, if you hear us laughing, you hear us enjoying this, we are enjoying a classic wrestling match between two great athletes.
We are seeing things that we haven't seen in years. We are seeing things that we've never seen before in our lives. And that's what you get when you have Kyle Matthews and Posey in the ring together.
These guys are consummate athletes, constantly training, constantly studying, learning new maneuvers and stuff to show off to you, the fans watching at home, the crowd sitting here in Cornelia, Georgia this week, watching this tremendous action.
Just like anything, you're a student. If you really care about the sport, you want to be the best, you become a student of the game. And it's obvious that both of these guys have spent a lot of time studying the sport of professional wrestling.
Yeah, I can admit, I'm not a pro wrestler. I'm a ring announcer. I'm a color commentator.
I think that was the understatement of the century. Do you think anybody confuses you as a pro wrestler?
No,
never. You go out somewhere and somebody's like, wow, I bet he's a pro wrestler. I don't think so. Maybe a sumo wrestler, but not a pro wrestler. I don't think that's a problem. But thank you for clarifying that. I'm sure that boosts your ego a little bit.
No problem, but as I was trying to say, even as a fan and sitting here and having to study the match, I watch the matches just like the wrestlers do. I may not, pick up maneuvers like they do, but I appreciate good wrestling, and we're seeing that here in our opening contest this week.
And again, you're looking at two up-and-coming superstars, men that have done big things in this business and men that are going to go on to do big things in this business.
Kyle Matthews is going to hit the ropes, went for the low dive,
which I believe he calls the low pay, which is a modified tope between the first and the second rope. Again, one of the only wrestlers outside of Mexico that is doing that maneuver.
Yeah, it's not something you see a lot in American wrestling.
But then again, that's why you look at Kyle Matthews, a man that's been to Mexico, a man that's been to Japan, a man that's been to Europe, the guy that's picked up style all over the world. every night you watch a Kyle Matthews match, you can get a different Kyle Matthews match, a different style, a different outlook, a different goal, different focus. That's what's amazing about Kyle Matthews. And the same thing when we go to Mike Posey. Mike Posey has been in the ring with some of the greatest wrestlers in our sport as a referee for WWE and for TNA. And you talk about a man that's been exposed to some of the best wrestling, obviously he's going to pick up a tremendous amount, and that's why he's been so successful.
I heard an interview recently with Hall of Fame superstar Ricky the Dragon Steamboat. He refers to that as being a chameleon. You know how to adapt to whoever you're inside the squared circle with. It doesn't matter if you're in there with a power wrestler, a classic, catch-as-catch hand style wrestler, a brawler. You learn to adapt to their styles and bring that out, and it allows you just to be the best superstar you can against anybody you're in the ring with.
Exactly. The most important thing is it makes you well-rounded. It makes you ready for everything. Makes you prepared. Like this move here, we got him in a rear waist lock here, but Kyle Matthews with his extensive repertoire of moves, I may look at grabbing that foot and looking at a leg takedown, but he may try something. And there we go with a Mexican wrestler with the right leg modified arm drag, right arm modified arm drag.
There's the split leg drop that Posey tried earlier. This time connects, gets a 2 count. Elbow and a second one by Mike Posey. Goes for the cover, hooks the leg.
And again, what you really get with Posey, you get the intensity and you get the speed. Posey is has some of the best cardio in professional wrestling. This man can go and go and go like an Energizer bunny. 25 minutes into a match, he is fresh like he just started the match. It's amazing, his conditioning. He's in fantastic shape, and he uses all of this to his advantage.
Backslide, gets a 2 count. Duck down, Posey going to go for a neck breaker.
And again, you think a lesser man 15 minutes into a match would be able to fluidly put that maneuver together? I don't think so.
Well, now Mike Posey trying to cut off the oxygen with that leg scissor around the waist, cutting off the oxygen of Kyle Matthews.
Yeah, well, what he's trying to do is he's trying to put pressure on the stomach. It doesn't allow him to get a full breath. So he is still getting oxygen, but he's basically almost being oxygen deprived because, obviously right now after so much athletic movement, he's trying to take deep breaths to catch his breath. And it looks like he's got a arm over the throat. He might have him in a sleeper hold as well.
Posey driven hard into the corner. Now backbreaker and a beauty.
Out of desperation, and Kyle Matthews not only gets out of that maneuver, but is able to put together a backbreaker.
Oh my. Posey out onto the apron, goes up and over, drop kick to the chest. Kyle Matthews.
Chest, the neck, the lower chin. He's got 2 feet, and he's planting them all over Kyle Matthews.
A lot of talent by both of these superstars in those unique maneuvers.
And again, we go to English style wrestling with the cravat. That's a European style modified headlock. Obviously as opposed to the American headlock, which we're so familiar with. But again, these guys blend styles, a chameleon like you said, and it's very impressive.
You will see a little bit of everything in this contest, and I think that's what's going to make this such an enjoyable match to watch, and a great way to kick things off this week here on Anarchy.
Ooh. And a stiff chop.
You may find, fans, that we get a little quiet watching this. It's because we're becoming so focused and engrossed in what we're watching, we almost forget that we've got a job to do calling this contest.
I know, I'm just enjoying watching it.
And Mike Posey on the floor. Could we see a dive from Kyle Matthews?
High impact maneuver here. What's he? Got the low pay.
Yeah, that was the low pay that you talked about earlier.
And again, tell me on a different professional wrestling broadcast, where have you seen a man dive between the first and the second rope? Obviously not as dangerous as diving over the top rope, but so much skill is involved. Think about trying to dive at something below your knees. I mean, it's impressive. Obviously, you see that top rope that middle rope is just barely above his knees.
Matthews up top, beautiful cross body block. 1, 2.
The kick out from Posey, only a 2 count.
Everybody here is clapping, showing their support. And I almost say, even though Mike Posey, not one of the most popular guys here, I have to say this applause for both superstars as they put on a tremendous showing.
Wow. And just over the top into a leg drop.
It's almost kind of a clothesline with the leg. Anarchy Wrestling.
Like you were saying, the fans, again, cheering, but not specifically booing or cheering. They're applauding the effort and the skill set of these two individuals.
You know, we've seen a lot of matches here this year, but so far this is turning out to be one of the best of the year, I'd have to say.
I agree completely. And it looks like a short super kick. Is that enough to put Posey away?
It isn't enough.
Not enough leg extension there. Didn't get the full power of that super kick. As you see, like when you see a Billy Buck, let's say, who's coming up in our main event, title for his career, gets that full leg extension. That short super kick's a quick impact move to disorient your opponent long enough to get the pin where he won't kick out because he's disoriented.
You know, I'm sure everybody right now is watching this contest. Anarchy Wrestling owner Franklin Dove is over at the timekeeper's table. He's watching not only because he has the interest in, you know, his issues with Mike Posey that'll come to a head eventually here in the squared circle, but because this is such a great bout, and now we see them up top, could be a superplex attempt by Kyle Matthews.
You know, Wolverton, we were on the same page right until then. Look at Franklin Dove. Look, he's a think-for-yourselfer. That's how all of the successful people are. He's out here thinking about himself, sizing up Posey. You notice he watches Posey's match more closer than any other match on the card?
Almost a head-up straight-jacket. It flips him over, goes for the cover, only able to get a 2.
Like some sort of, almost like a sit-down, over-the-shoulder power slam almost.
These moves are so unique, and I don't even know how to call them. You know, I've been a fan of wrestling for over 20 years. You've been involved. Just, you know,
I don't even know if they know what it is.
That was a crash and burn, and Mike Posey's going to go right after a double underhook onto the top rope and drives him down to the canvas.
Could we have a 3 count here?
2, it kicks out. I thought that was going to be it, but somehow Kyle Matthews able to kick out. Could be time for the Alabama Jam. Mike Posey going to go up to the top. Could be shooting for that leg drop, but Matthews up to his feet, up and over. Posey lands on his feet, up and back behind. Rear waistlock reversal. O'Connor roll by Kyle Matthews. Again, roll up, handful of tights.
Your winner of the match, Mike Posey.
Well, Andrew Pendelton III, as great a match as that was, I have to say the end of it was not using a handful of tights. I think Posey could have just as easily got that 3 count just by rolling over.
Well, what do you expect him to do? He's here to win the match. He's not here to be friends with you or impress these fans. He's here to win. That's why he won. He's here to win. Kyle Matthews will not do what it takes to win. Obviously, Mike Posey will. That's why he's victorious here tonight on Anarchy Wrestling TV.
Well, a tremendous way to kick off the action. Still to come, we have the title versus career match for the television championship. Bobby Moore defends against the career of Wild Billy Buck.
Fans, give it up one more time for Kyle Matthews.